Hello everyone, welcome back. It is good to be back. I know I have been away for over a year at this point, but given that the end of the year just passed and that marks about a year since I made my last video, I just wanted to come back and make something, post something, because it's nice, it feels good. I love talking about this stuff. So obviously I've been a lot busier than I usually am, which has led to not really having time to write a script or do anything, and I wanted to, as a goal, I wanted to sit down and still do my year-end video that I have been doing every year, kind of going over what I played and what I liked and share my thoughts. And I was sitting down to write the script. I just felt like it wasn't happening this year, and originally I wasn't gonna do anything, but then I'm like, you know what, I still got some great stuff that I want to talk about, and that I want to put out there. So I figured, why take the time to write a script when I can just pull open a tier list and just give all my unscripted thoughts about all the stuff that I've played. So that's what I decided to do today. It's a lot less grandiose than what I usually like to do, but I've got all 26 games that I have played and finished this year into a tier list here. It's quite nice that they fit in two even rows like that. It's perfect. I'll walk through kind of my tiers and what my criteria are, because I really want to stay away from doing just like a S through F tier. And first of all, I don't think any game I played this year is an F tier. I usually don't play or finish something if I think it's that bad. But also I just think the way I did this just kind of lets me synthesize my thoughts a little more than just like objective. I'll go over the tiers right now, and that should make a lot more sense. But top tier, one of my new favorites, just a game I absolutely loved, will end up being one of my top games of all time. I mean, safe to say, like my top 3 games of the year will probably make that part of the list. We upload, it's a great game, would recommend. It's like, maybe it's not perfect, there's some stuff that's kind of off about it, but it's an incredible game that I also think you should play. Below that, we got good game that's a bit forgettable. Forgettable might be a harsh term to some, but I say that in a mild criticism way, as in, I really enjoyed the game, but I just feel like there's something about it that just makes me think that come 5 years from now, when I'm thinking about the favorite things I played, I'm just not going to really remember that I played it or that I liked it. So that's kind of what that tier means. Below that, I was hoping for more. Not necessarily in like a negative sense. The game could be good, but sometimes I just have really high expectations, and it doesn't always deliver, and it's like, oh, well, that was not what I expected. So again, really, every game on this list I really did enjoy, but we got the bottom tier, which is, I worry might be too harsh, considering I say I enjoyed all these games, but it's that I wish I didn't put time into it. Maybe just like I felt like I was like, oh man, I don't know if I got a lot out of that, or it wasn't as good as I hoped it would be, and feel like maybe should have taken my time and used it on things that I would have enjoyed more. So those are my tiers. That's kind of my logic for what each tier is going to be. Yeah, that should kind of outline what it is that I'm ranking these on here. So I'm going to kind of try to keep it similar to kind of thoughts I share about games like I did in the past for my scripted videos, but just unscripted, obviously. Just kind of telling you guys what I thought about this stuff. So with all that preamble out of the way, let's get into actually ranking this stuff and talking about it. I've got them organized on the bottom by date I finished them, by the way. So January games to start, December games to the bottom again. Trying to keep it kind of like those other videos I did, as much as I can in a unscripted tier list format. But yes, we start with Citizen Sleeper, which was the first game that I beat this year. Now, Citizen Sleeper was a game that I kind of took a gamble on, that I heard about in a video, and I thought it looked good, and I kind of bought it and played it without knowing anything about it. But all that being said, I think it's going to go in the middle tier here. Good game, bit forgettable. I think there was a lot that was great about it. I thought the dice rolling was super addicting, and it gave me that one more day feeling of not wanting to put it down, so I could progress all the stories, and the world and the art was great. But there's just something, I think, lack of a super great fulfilling ending, and then kind of scrolling around the map and not doing much. Again, that's where the tier comes to play. It's a good game, but it's a bit forgettable. So that's that one. Next, we got Doom Eternal. I actually really love this game. Well, I'll get into it in a second, but I want to figure out what tier I'm going to put it in. I think it has to go in Great Game. Would recommend. As much as I'd love to put it as one of my favorites. I just don't think it's that good. But to give a little background here, this was a game that I received as a gift over the Christmas season last year. I always try to prioritize if someone buys me a gift that, especially with the game, it only applies if it's a game, but that I play it and do it. And I wasn't quite sure going to Doom Eternal. I heard good things, but usually I don't do shooters or some of that more violent stuff. I mean, I think you guys, if you've seen the stuff I put out, kind of know the stuff I play. But man, there's something about Doom Eternal that just really just won me over. It's really addicting combat, and I feel like it puts gameplay first, pretty much for the whole experience. Just giving you lots of really fun things to do at any one time, with all the different weapons you have and the different enemy types and the collectibles you can find and the exploration and all that. I feel like so often these days these kinds of games are big open world, lots of just kind of walking around, but I feel like there's never a dull moment in this game. And there's story, and I didn't really get the story. I don't know if I was supposed to get the story, especially considering I not played Doom 2016 before playing this game, but it was always like really short, and I felt like before I knew it was back in the action, so nothing ever really dragged the game down. So again, not that I really have anything wrong with it, I just don't know if it's quite good enough to be one of my new favorites. But yeah, absolutely great game. Kind of came out of nowhere and blew me away. Next one, we've got One Shot. One Shot is also going to go in Great Game. Would recommend. This is a game that I've been wanting to play for a while, and come this time of year, I was really looking for some smaller, shorter games to play. Kind of at this point, and this seemed like a great fit because I beat it in like 5 hours or so. It's not that long of a game, and another one that I just really didn't know much about. I just knew people liked it. I knew it was kind of Undertale-esque, and another one that just really blew me away. This is one I would say just play and don't look up much about it, but there's some great fourth wall breaking stuff in this game that is really genius, and kind of had my jaw on the floor sometimes, or just how it's designed and how they pulled off some stuff. And this is not a new game, it's been out for a long time. The RPG Maker version is old, not that old, but old enough. And yeah, it's just a really fun main character, kind of got that Undertale charm to it, and kind of navigating the world. I mean, I would have loved to have been longer. It's a pretty short game, for how much I enjoyed it. But yeah, great game, totally recommend it. And yeah, just if you are interested in playing it, you definitely should, and just go in blind. Yeah. Pizza Tower. Surprisingly, this is probably going to be a little bit of a hot take because I know people love this game. I'm going to put this one in. I was hoping for more. This was one of the kind of great indies from last year that I really wanted to get around to playing. So I made sure to play it this year. And how the way everyone was talking about it was like, oh man, this is going to be like one of like the indie platforming greats. Because there's some great indie platformers out there. And yeah, just something about what was there, it just wasn't quite what I expected, I guess. Maybe all the hype got to me a bit too much, just from everyone else talking about it. But I thought it was fun. I thought the controls were a bit strange, a bit hard to get used to, even through the whole game. I never quite got used to it, but it was just something that all felt like something I'd done before. I don't know, nothing that blew my mind. I know people love chasing like the high ranks and that one. I never like felt compelled enough to like chase those high ranks myself. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thoughts. Again, great game. The art is awesome. The boss fight's really good. Really love the boss fight, especially the final boss. A great final boss. But I don't know. There's just something that was not quite what I thought it was based on how great people were saying it was. Okay, yeah, next we've got Your Turn to Die, which this one's a little weird because for those of you who know this game, the full game's not out. It's been released in an episodic manner, but this was one I don't know really what made me want to play it, but I did. Anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna put it in great game. Where to recommend? I'll go into a little bit. Yeah, if you guys don't know about it, this is a Japanese kind of visual novel death game story, very Danganronpa inspired. It's you can tell it's pretty low budget. It's just made by one guy, but it's got a great story. I've heard the fandom for this game has been very loud and proud, and definitely contributed to me wanting to play it. And yeah, I mean, what's there is great. I mean, I really don't feel like I can put it in a higher tier because of the fact that it is not finished. But you know, the story is really really gripping, and there's some player choice in it that I really respect, that lets you kind of change the story based on the stuff that you select. So that's really all awesome, and the art is beautiful. I love the art style, and yeah, I will say, I mean, obviously I would definitely recommend waiting for the game to be finished, because there is a last chapter that should be coming out in 2026, at least that's the hope, and then the game will be done. But yeah, if you love Danganronpa or any of that stuff, definitely play this game. It's a great story. Next we've got Unicorn Overlord, which here's another one I'm going to be kind of harsh on. It's going to go in my bottom tier. I'm going to say I wish I hadn't put time into it. Again, I feel like it's a really harsh thing to say, but I'll kind of explain what makes me feel that way. So, I played this game. I felt like it was, Vanillaware meets Fire Emblem, which I love Fire Emblem, and I love 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim when I played that. So I was like, oh man, this game is probably going to be like perfect for me. And the art is beautiful. Obviously, it's a Vanillaware game that just kind of comes with the territory. But man, the gameplay just did nothing for me. I don't know. I can't quite explain. The gameplay is decently complex, actually, because you're dealing with all of these units in a very Fire Emblem like way, that you have 30 plus units that are just kind of recruited through the story, and you kind of grow your army to be very large, and you build these teams of characters, and you move on the map and you fight another team, and there's a lot of logic about like who does what. I was kind of disappointing. You fight these teams and you don't control the combat. You kind of just set them up to fight, and you just kind of watch them fight. Which I guess Fire Emblem does the same thing, but it's a lot more limited because you're managing each character individually on what they're going to do. But you're putting these kind of long, drawn-out sequences where you're watching each team fight, and you have no control over it. You just kind of gotta watch. And I really want to get in the strategy of like, who to put on what team, where to put them where, and I just couldn't make sense of it for life of me. I felt like I was literally just reading the combat forecast and just moving around teams until I got the number that I want. Like, I didn't really feel like I understood the game or was able to get it to work in the way I wanted to. And I just ended up being more frustrated by the combat than anything else, because I also felt like the combat scenarios got a bit stale. I felt like I was just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. There wasn't really too many other like objectives or things to kind of mix it up. But I will say, the character designs are gorgeous. The world is gorgeous. It's really fun. There's kind of a part when you're not in battles where you're kind of just walking around, just looking for treasure, and kind of discovering some secrets on the map. And that was my favorite part of the game. I loved kind of completing that map and going through and doing it. But yeah, man, I always just kind of dreaded it whenever I had to do a battle, because it was just boring. Again, it's not bad, just was a little boring. And then, it's a little tough. You've got so many characters that you just can't get to know any of them like super well. So they're all a little weak. But there is a great kind of mechanic where you can get, kind of like support conversations in Fire Emblem, and get the characters to have these conversations with each other, and that's kind of where you get to know them. I wish I got to see more of those, honestly. I just didn't want to play the game more to like grind them out, but super well made kind of mechanic of just having all these support conversations for all the different characters that let you get to know them. So that was my favorite part. But yeah, the gameplay was tough for me to get through. And yes, I did finish the game, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to be too harsh on it. Good game. Really is a good game, but yeah. All right, next we got Star Wars Outlaws. This one is certainly going into I was hoping for more. This again, frankly, I am surprised this game was good, because I think this game could have been an absolute trash fire, considering it's just another Ubisoft open world thing. But I am a big Star Wars fan. I don't know if it's come up in any of these videos, but I am. And, you know, it was kind of a big deal to have this open world Star Wars game. Like, you know, Ubisoft does do a really good job of making kind of expansive, pretty open worlds. And, you know, I have my complaints about how they kind of give you things to do in them. But the worlds are always fun to explore, in my opinion. But, man, I just don't feel like that was the case in this one. Surprisingly, I went into it hoping the open world would be fun. And it really was my least favorite part. You know, the favorite part of mine was like the linear levels, actually, and some of the story and the character interactions. I actually really did like all that stuff, but man, I just felt like the open world was a total letdown. Like I didn't feel like there was a lot of like quests or stuff to do out there. I just felt like it was often you had a story objective, and it was just, you know, where do you need to go next for your story objective, and just ride on your speeder and go there as fast as possible. But again, that's kind of my complaint out of the way, the more that I was hoping for. But, you know, other than that, I mean, you know, they've been doing Jedi games, you know, lots of games of lightsaber, and this one is very, you know, stealth blaster combat focused, and I felt like that gameplay was really solid. I thought they did some stuff to make the blaster gameplay really fun, and the character and her little buddy that she brings around with her are just really cute and have a great dynamic. And some of the characters, I loved having like a commando droid as your sidekick. But yeah, it's a good game. If you're a Star Wars fan, I recommend checking it out. The cities are really cool. They're really dense, and have a lot to explore. But yeah, everything outside of the cities is just kind of barren and boring. And again, wish there was more. All right, next we are going to do We Love Katamari. That one is also going in. I was hoping for more. I think I'm my own problem here with this one, because I played Katamari Forever as my first Katamari game. I love Katamari Forever. It was a great game. Highly recommend to anyone who would like to get in the Katamari series. If you can get a hold of it, I think it is only on PS3, which is not the easiest to play right now, because that is like a best of Katamari. I have a lot of the best of levels. And, you know, I played Katamari Re-Roll a few years ago, and I was a little underwhelmed by it. Part of me felt like I had already played some of the best levels already, and also just felt like it wasn't as fleshed out. There wasn't as much to do, or maybe I just felt like there was kind of been there, done that. But I know that people said that We Love Katamari was a much better game, and I went into it, and it's like the thing. It's like Katamari gameplay is fun. I will always enjoy Katamari, but again, I've played the best levels already, and just like some of the fresh factor was kind of gone a little bit. I don't know if Katamari is something that's too interesting, just kind of doing it again. And I've heard that, you know, there was a new Katamari game, Once Upon a Katamari, this year, and I heard people say that they actually did do a really good job of changing some stuff to make it feel different. But I just kind of felt like I was playing a game I'd already played before. So again, great game. If you've not played a Katamari game before, definitely try We Love Katamari. But yeah, all right. And next up, we've got the Plucky Squire. I'm also going to put that one into I was hoping for more. I was really excited in this game, kind of running into it. You know, obviously there had been trailers for it in Nintendo Directs, and I thought the idea was genius and very Super Paper Mario. And you know, this is one of those weird things where it's like, when I think about like what was it that like I wish there would have been more of, like I can't really put words to it, but I just remember walking away being like, I don't know, I thought it'd be better. It's kind of short. There's no openness. It's very linear. No explanation. I think it would have been fun to have a little more freedom. But I mean, that's really the only thing that stuck out to me as being like not great. Because I mean, you know, the art is lovely. The writing is really funny. I really loved kind of talking to some of the characters. Cool use of like mini games and stuff to kind of mix up the gameplay. And it did run a little poorly on Switch. I'm not going to hold that against it. Switch is old hardware, but it chugged, especially out in like the 3D sections. But yeah, that was noticeable. But you know, other than that, it just was a really good game. I don't know. I really thought it was going to be like up there with like one of the great indies, and I don't know, it was good. It was good. It was nothing more than good. So yeah, that's where that goes. And then we got Bayonetta. I decided to try the Bayonetta games for the first time this year, one of kind of the big franchises that I had not gotten a chance to ever try before. And, you know, first game went on sale for a super affordable price, so I decided to buy it and play it. And I hate to say it, we got yet another game that's going to go into the I was hoping for more section. And yeah, I gotta remember to get back to it in a second, but yeah, that's 4 games in a row going into the I was hoping for more section. But yeah, before I get into kind of how I feel about that, I mean, let me just talk about Bayonetta for a second. You know, it's a well-made game. You know, it's a great take on the action genre. But man, there is just some game design stuff about this game that I do not understand. I don't even want to call it the difficulty, because it's not even the game that difficult. It's how severely you're punished as far as like ranking wise, like for making like any mistakes at all. And, you know, obviously the rankings don't matter, but it's not fun to finish with the lowest rank every single time, especially when I feel like I'm playing well or I only made one tiny little slip up. That was something that kind of bugged me. That they did do a great job of fixing the sequel, but of course we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, just some of the way that like the moves were learned through like the shop, but like there weren't that many, so you could like learn them all like really soon on in the game. Some of the optional challenges were just like were way too hard. I don't know why they were so hard, because the rest of the game like wasn't that hard. It was just hard to kind of like be perfect and not take damage. But like yeah, some of the optional challenges were like really hard, and I kind of just gave up on those because I just felt like I couldn't do it. So I don't know if there was something about this combat system that I was not understanding that kind of maybe could help me play better or get around this stuff, but I don't think there was anything I was missing. I just think some of that stuff was really demanding and really hard. But yeah, love the characters, love the vibe. The story was a bit confusing to me. I kind of look it up after the fact to find it out, but it's a cool story. Something about how it was told was a bit confusing to follow. But yeah, great game, fun game, but yeah, some weird design choices. So anyways, I just want to talk about the fact that yeah, it's a lot of games in a row in the I was hoping for more section, and I think this stretch kind of burned me out, because like I was like playing stuff, I was like, oh man, I'm in trouble. There's all the stuff I want to get to, and I had a point where I just like didn't really feel like playing stuff. And I think it's because I was like, I had a bunch of games I was excited for that I really thought were gonna like light, and I think having that much time without like a great game was just like maybe I shouldn't be so excited about all this backlog stuff. And obviously it was just kind of a state of mind, and I kind of got over it. But like for like a good like month after this, I just like wasn't playing stuff. I just wasn't excited to. But yeah, again, I'm glad I checked all those games out, but some disappointments there for sure as far as the expectations that I had going in. But anyways, that out of the way, we do get into another game that I did really truly enjoy. We got 100 Line Last Defense Academy. Now, I'm sure you guys could have guessed that this was something that I play. I mean, obviously I made that video about Rain Code and talked about how much of a Danganronpa fan I was, but you know, next kind of big project from Kodaka that was a collaboration with Uchikoshi, who made 999. It just really caught my attention, and I wanted to make sure to kind of hop on this right as it came out. And yeah, I mean, there is certainly a lot to criticize about the game. It is a messy game, but it's messy in kind of a fun, amazing way. For those of you who don't know, it's a visual novel that's got some strategy game elements, but kind of the gimmick is there's choices that you can make, and there are 100 endings in the game. So obviously you range from the funny stuff to the serious stuff to the horror stuff to the super dramatic stuff, and I mean there's just a whole wide range of, you know, the stories vary drastically. It's not like, oh, you just pick something and you get an immediate ending. Like, you really do have branches of the story that take you off on severely different paths, and you know, some of it there's clearly a main path for the game, and I do wish they made it a little more obvious than that. That main path is excellent. I kind of went for that one pretty soon on, and I was gripped. I was super into it. I thought the writing was spectacular, and then I did that and I was like, oh my god, that was amazing. I'm gonna go do a bunch more of these little ones, and I just felt like the other ones were just nowhere near as strong. Kind of some of them were like just really kind of meh, but the director has said time and time again that you're not really supposed to play them all. You're kind of just supposed to play kind of the ones that stick out to you as good routes to go down, and kind of forge your own journey from them. So I can't hold against it too much. But yeah, there certainly are some stinker moments. But man, if I'm just talking about that main path to like the true ending of the game, it's exceptional. It really is. The characters are great. I really did like the combat. When you're kind of doing it for the first time, it's great. It gets a little boring on kind of the repeat playthroughs, but first time it's great. So might be something that I've held poorly against other games, but in this game I just feel like it works, and I did what I wanted to, and I stepped away from it. a lot to say about this game. If I have the time, I would love to make a video for it, but we'll see what happens. It's been a while since I kind of finished it, but yeah. So yeah, we're coming back into it. We're coming back into some great games. Because next up we got Jedi Survivor, and that game's also going to go into great game. Would recommend. Yeah, it's I think it's a huge step up over the first Jedi game, and I'm a bit bummed it took me this long to kind of get around to playing it. But the worlds feel even more open than they did in the Jedi Fallen Order, the first one, and I just really loved just kind of walking around and exploring them. Felt like they added a whole bunch more stuff, customization, lightsaber styles. I didn't really use too much of it. I thought kind of sticking with like the regular lightsaber was kind of just the most fun, and certainly what I was most used to. But I love the options and the flexibility, and I feel like there was just something about this game, the openness was really what stood out to me. Just kind of being able to wander around and make my own path and find the secrets and extra customizations options, and there were great rewards for going out and looking for stuff. So yeah, really great game if you're a Star Wars fan. But definitely check this one out. The story was great too. I do want to highlight the story. I don't remember the story too much from the first Jedi Fallen Order, but yeah, this one was really a great story. So yeah, 2 thumbs up for me on Jedi Survivor. Deltarune, we got the first one going into one of my new favorites. Now again, much like Your Turn to Die, it is very hard to talk about this one because it is not done. But I think the 2 chapters that released this year really kind of cemented to me that this is a project that I think is even better than Undertale in some ways. You know, where the story is going, I think is extremely interesting, and it gives the fan base a lot of stuff to talk and theorize about, and I think that has just been really great and really fun to kind of watch happen in real time as people are reacting to stuff and figuring stuff out. But yeah, I think these last 2 chapters are great. I think you have chapter 3 that isn't quite as story heavy, a lot more kind of funny and gameplay heavy, which was great. I think some of the gameplay and the writing, obviously, in chapter 3 was excellent. And then chapter 4, I feel like, is where you have a little bit more of kind of what people really like, kind of the story and the lore and the getting to see what's going on with all the characters and all that. So I feel like between those 2 chapters, you really got a great kind of overall sampler of what this game is trying to accomplish, and that is it's doing it exceptionally well. So I mean, you know, Deltarune is really one of the projects I'm most excited for, kind of getting more parts of right now. So we will see what happens. I think we're getting the next chapter this year, but just truly exciting stuff. So happy that we got more this year. Next we have Neva from the makers of Gris. I could have totally screwed up both those names, but hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm also going to put this one in a wish I hadn't put time into it. Now, that's saying a lot different. What I'm saying there was a lot different than Unicorn Overload because this game's like 4 hours long. But there was just really nothing about it that like stuck out to me. Like I played it mostly, same reason I played Gris, that the art is really pretty. And it's kind of just like that games and art kind of thing where you can watch this kind of piece of art happen in front of you. And this is where stuff I feel like, you know, with it being so short and really not much happening, it doesn't stick out in my brain as much. Like I felt like Gris had like certain levels that were like really strange or trippy and impactful, and I just thought this was a pretty typical kind of like fantasy grassy world, and even though it was pretty, it just didn't stick out to me too much. And it has some combat this time around, whereas Gris didn't, and that definitely makes things a little more interesting, but it was also very simple. So yeah, you know, again, nothing wrong with it. It's just, I don't know, didn't really stick out to me. You're gonna hear me say that a lot if I ever put more things in that category, because that's kind of just what I feel about something. I'm putting in that category. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I feel like I've got another hot take on this one, considering how much backlash there's been. But I mean, I'm gonna put it in good game, but forgettable. Yeah, obviously, I feel like there's been like an immense amount of hate toward that game, and mostly about the pricing. I do understand that, but you know, I'm always fine if the game is good to pay my money for it. And you know, I really think that the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour is a really good game. You know, I'm a sucker for kind of those mini game compilations, getting to do the fun stuff, getting to try out the mouse mode and the Joy-Con. You know, I thought it was super charming to kind of like walk around the Switch and read the stuff about it. And honestly, the thing that stuck out to me most about the game was just kind of getting some great insight on the hardware of the Switch. You know, I'm studying to be an engineer, so I kind of love that inner workings of stuff perspective and getting to read how they kind of iterated on the design of the first Switch and figured out stuff for the new Switch and how it all works. I mean, so I really love that part. And they give you some great info, some really in-depth info too. You know, it comes off as being a little kiddie at first, but they do give some really kind of deep explanations on how some of the stuff inside the console works. So that really was my favorite part. You know, obviously it's a $10, 5-hour little tour. It's not really much of a game there, so obviously it's going to be a little bit forgettable, hence not putting in the tier above. But I think for what it is, I think it really is great. I don't regret buying it at all. So yeah, if you're like me and you like checking out that stuff, yeah, the Switch Welcome Tour will easily be worth your time. Next we got Mario Kart World. This one's really weird. I don't really know how to feel this one. I think I'm going to put it in good game, but a bit forgettable. Like, I could go in great game, work recommend. It could go down, and I was hoping for more. I mean, I think there was a certain expectation going into it of it being like, oh man, this big open world. I think when I got my hands on it at first, there was this little feeling of like, it's kind of empty, there's not much to do. And, you know, going back to having only just a few cups after having all those tracks in Mario Kart 8. And I will say, I think Mario Kart 8 had more interesting tracks because they weren't really confined all being in one world. But kind of as I keep playing this game, you know, play a lot with friends and all that, the magic of kind of the interconnected world really kind of hit me. That it's a really fun thing to just kind of drive around and do little P-switch missions, and you kind of get to know the tracks in relation to each other and how it fits in the world. And I think from that perspective, it's really great and really enjoyable. And, you know, I would love to see it get updated. You know, obviously there was a mid-year update that added the kind of better features to the map that let you see where the P-switches were. And I thought that was a completely necessary update. I thought without that, it was totally aimless and hard to feel compelled to want to do those P-switches. But, you know, once that was added, I thought that was a great addition. So there's some stuff I'd love to see added to kind of make it a better game. But, you know, for being a new Mario Kart, I mean, yeah, it's good. I really enjoy it, and I hope it'll continue to be fun for the years and years that we will most likely be playing it. All right, then next we have Ratchet & Clank for PS4. This is another, like, random backlog game I've just had for a long time. I think PlayStation gave it out for free or something back, like, over COVID or something. So I've been wanting to play it for a long time. I really enjoyed it. Good game, bit forgettable, but really good game. I had set my expectations pretty low for this one because I know that people don't really like this one because obviously it was like really tied in with like a movie that came out in 2016 or whatever. But I can't say I really cared about that because the gameplay was fun. The worlds were fun. I really liked the guns. I mean, I feel like Ratchet & Clank is all about how fun of the guns to use. The guns were really fun to use. Yeah, I thought for being, I don't really know how much it is actually like the first game as far as like from a gameplay sense. I don't know if they changed a bunch of stuff, but I feel like it really kind of holds a candle to like the recent Ratchet & Clank games. Even though it's seemingly based on the first one. I mean, I really like some of the parts where you had like the jetpack and you're going around these big worlds, and it was like racing segments. I was like, there was a lot of stuff in this game that like I really liked. And you know, obviously I think it is going to have to kind of live in the shadow of you know, Crack in Time and Rift Apart and all the ones that people say are really great. But for not expecting a whole lot from this one, I really had a great time. I'm almost tempted to put it a tier higher, but I don't know. There's something about Ratchet & Clank games that are kind of like junk food to me. Like they're not fine dining, but you know, I really like them. But yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. And yeah, if you're a Ratchet & Clank fan and you haven't played that one, I really recommend it, and I had a great time. Next, we've got Yoku's Island Express. I'm gonna put this one into... I'm gonna do I was hoping for more. I don't think it's quite harsh enough for me to put it into wish I hadn't put time into it. So I've heard about this one for a while. This was just kind of an impulse pickup because it was on sale for really cheap. But yeah, it's a pinball Metroidvania, and I was always a little hesitant. I'm like, oh man, you know, how are you gonna make pinball really interesting through a Metroidvania? But you know, people had spoken really highly of it, so I was like, oh okay, you know, I'll check it out. And you know, it's really cute. It's not very long. Obviously, it's not gonna waste a lot of your time. The pinball stuff is really fun, but I think the upgrades could have been more interesting. I had an expectation of like what I thought what upgrades you would get in a pinball Metroidvania, and obviously you can't jump in this game. You're very relying on like the flippers, but I feel like overall your moveset doesn't really change too much. I feel like the biggest thing that changes, like you'll talk to a character and they'll like open up a path to somewhere else for you, or tell you where you could go or something like that. Like I do feel like it was pretty linear, and I don't ever feel like I had too many chances where I could like go back and uncover a new path. And obviously it's a pretty small map, but there is places to go back, but it just never felt like too much or stuff that I was like, sometimes it would make things more frustrating than I should. So anyways, that's my thoughts on that one. It's not too much of a game. It's a little short, little one. But yeah. Dragon Quest XI. This was a big one for me. First Dragon Quest game I've ever played. Something that's kind of been on and off my backlog since kind of like 2017. So kind of a big deal that I finally got around to this year. And I'd say, I'm gonna put it in the middle. Good game. It is a bit forgettable, but good game. I mean, it's a very well-made game, that's for sure, as far as turn-based RPGs go. I think there's really a lot of fun in the movesets that your characters get and kind of switching around and using your party. The art, music, world design, great. Really love the enemies and kind of their animations. I think it's where something that like Pokemon is lacking a little bit. The ones you're fighting really feel like really entertaining characters with great animations. That was great. I loved that. Story though, can't say I love the story, or that the story is really going to stick with me. I mean, obviously I think Dragon Quest is one of those franchises that's kind of known for having typical hero save the world plots. And you can have interesting versions of that plot, but this one was fine. I like the characters. I thought the characters were cool. There's a couple of them that I thought were better than others. Of course, everyone loves Sylvando. I did like Rob, the old man. The others were fine. We're not quite as memorable. But yeah, I think ultimately what's going to make this a little forgettable is just there's not much to remember from the story. But yeah, the combat and just kind of like the world exploration dungeons. That part I really liked and was great RPG experience. But yeah, I thought the story was going to be a little better. Anyways, that was my big complaint. Fun game. Yeah. Bayonetta 2. I'll put this one into good game. That's a bit forgettable. Improvement over the first one for sure. I think a lot of the things that I critiqued about the first one are fixed, except for kind of getting all your combos early. That still really is also an issue. But yeah, the difficulty and kind of the balancing for like the awards was made a lot better and a lot more feasible. Part of me was feeling like they overcorrected a little bit because the game felt a lot easier this time around. But I can't complain too much. It really was kind of demoralizing the first one, so I am really glad they changed it, even if they did make it significantly easier. I like the story this time around. I thought the story was a little better. I thought it was also, yet again, kind of confusing, but I understood it a little bit better, and when I kind of looked up some stuff to help fill in the gaps so I didn't understand them, I thought the story was really good. Short game. I mean, they're both really short games, and I guess I thought for kind of how people talked about that it was going to be a little more kind of longer and grander, but I kind of felt like I knocked it out in just a few afternoons, so there's that. But yeah, I mean, just it takes what works about the first game, is kind of like the fun combat, and I thought some of the other weapons that you could use in this one were really fun and really entertaining, helped kind of mix things up a little bit. And the settings, obviously it looks a little prettier. I was expecting a much bigger jump up because the PS3 one was a little murky looking, and I thought, Wii U, it came from the Wii U HD console, that's going to look a little better, but it does kind of just look like a slightly better version of the PS3 game. But I think they use the colors a lot better, and it's a lot brighter. It's not quite as dark as the first one is, so that's cool. I like that, and some great set pieces near the end of the game. So yeah, great game, but yeah, just kind of short, and some of the problems from the first one still carry over. But yeah, glad I played it. We'll see if I ever get around to playing 3. I don't know if it's on my radar necessarily, considering I didn't love the first 2, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, next we've got Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I am pleased to say will be joining Deltarune in one of my new favorites tier. Oh man, this game is so good. Yes, it's a really, really good game. What is there to say about this one that really hasn't been said already? It's The punching's fun. It has that Mario Odyssey formula. That's great, of just finding a whole bunch of collectibles and totally letting you loose to do whatever it is you want to do. And yeah, it's a joy. It's a joy to play that finale. The finale is excellent, incredible. Won't spoil it, obviously. I'm glad that people have not been too spoilery about everything that happened in the end, because I got spoiled on some aspects of it, but others got to be complete surprises for me, so that was great. And yeah, just, I don't know, I feel like I've heard so many people talk the praises of this game, and I feel like I feel the same. Like, obviously there's some complaints, some critiques, but it's really good for what it is. They nailed the punching, and that was the most important part. Yeah, everything just feels so satisfying and fun, and yeah, 100% completed it and had a blast doing so. So yeah, there's that. We're gonna follow that up with another one that's gonna go up there. I mean, this shouldn't surprise people who have played it, but yeah, Silksong is gonna go right next to it in one of my new favorites. I've had an interesting journey with this game, so obviously I got it after it came out. I was excited for it. I mean, I don't think I was as excited as some other people, because like obviously Hollow Knight's like up there, like top 20 games for me, you know, excellent Metroidvania, but the idea of a sequel wasn't like blowing my mind. Like I was like, oh my god, Silksong was never like my number one most anticipated game, because I thought it was gonna be good, but maybe not quite as good as Hollow Knight, considering it was just kind of like retreading ground they did before. But they did a really great job of making this game stand out and truly become its own thing. So it really was a great experience to kind of play it when it came out, and I was loving it at first. It was going great, and I kind of hit that big difficulty bump in the middle game, because obviously people have talked about it a bunch. This game is really hard, and I think that difficulty bump kind of got to me a little bit and colored my enjoyment, I'd say. And I was not feeling it for a little bit. I don't know, like Hollow Knight, I did everything you could in that game. As grueling as some of it was, like I was like, I don't want to stop. I'm having so much fun, because it felt hard, but I always felt achievable. And I felt like some of these I was wasting so much time just trying it again and again and again. So I was kind of like, you know what, I am just going to go. I'm going to beat the final boss. People said the final boss isn't too hard. I'm just going to go beat the final boss. I'm just going to call it there. I don't want to just sink hours and hours and hours and hours into doing kind of those late game extra act bosses that people said are really hard. And I kind of stepped away from it for like a month. And then, of course, all the Game of the Year talk and people talking about it again. And there was just kind of hearing people talk about it, just maybe want to go back to it. And I went back to it. I went and trucked through kind of the annoying stuff that you need to do to unlock the extra act. And there is some really hard stuff. I haven't quite finished Act 3 yet, but I'm close. I'm close to the end, but even though it was annoying and some of it could be busy work, to kind of clear myself of the necessity of having to beat bosses for a little bit and just kind of explore the world and go find the quests and the maps and the areas and stuff that you need to do to unlock the third act was easily the most fun I had playing the game. And even some of the ones that people said that they really hated, some of the bosses, I think maybe were blown out of proportion, or maybe I went into them expecting them to be hard, so I kind of like clutched up a little more. Like I don't know, but like Grohl in Biowater, like people said that boss sucks, it's the worst part of the game. Like it was hard, but like I don't know, I thought there were other fights in the game that were harder. Like I didn't take too long in that one, but maybe I'd already seen videos of people beating it because I knew it existed, so maybe me going in with some prior knowledge was helpful there. But yeah, I'd love to go back and kind of just finish up Act 3. I've heard that the final boss is very difficult, but hopefully I'll be able to do it. But yeah, the difficulty is a turnoff, I'd say, but once you push through it, yeah, there's a great game hidden in there. All right, next one. I think I've got another really hot take here. We got Doom 2016. I'm going to put Doom 2016 into, which I hadn't put time into it, which is insane because I was just singing the praises of Doom Eternal, and they are very, very similar games. And man, there's something I think playing Doom Eternal first kind of ruined Doom 2016 for me, because they're very similar. Same weapons, same kind of style with the glory kills and the way you move through levels and the collectibles and stuff like that. And I felt like Doom Eternal did it better in like so many ways that I felt like I went back to Doom 2016 and I was like, well, this isn't as good. Like, a couple of things that I felt like stood out to me. I felt like the levels were much less interesting. I felt like Doom Eternal had some really cool levels, and the graphical boost from it being, having like a PS5 version, I think really helped Doom Eternal kind of stand out. But I thought the levels were a little less interesting, and also just like the newness of it had kind of worn off. Like, I felt like I was just playing Doom Eternal again, but just not quite as good, because there's little stuff they added in Doom Eternal to kind of make it more fun, and having more enemy types and stuff like that. So there wasn't that new fresh factor. So good. Putting this down and I wish I hadn't put time into it, says nothing about it. It's a great game. If you played it before Doom Eternal, I actually think you have an absolute blast with it. But yeah, it's just playing it after Doom Eternal, I think just really brought down my experience. So again, this is kind of a weird place to put it, but not too long game. Can't regret that. But yeah. All right, next we've got Pokemon Legends ZA, another game that I feel like there's been more controversy about than there has been good things to say about, but I am going to put it in great game, would recommend. I'm a sucker for Pokemon. There really has not been many Pokemon games that have come out, even in this era, which I think a lot of people would say has been a bit rough for Pokemon from a critical perspective, but I've enjoyed pretty much everything they've done, and this game was no exception. I mean, obviously it was a bit of a strange choice to set the game in one whole city after kind of the expansive nature of Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I was a little confused about that choice at first, but they do make a really good, enjoyable experience out of it. I felt like you get to know the characters and the city really well through like your 30 hours or whatever you play with it. I loved the new combat system. I thought that was great. I loved bringing megas back, getting to see new megas. That was a super fun aspect of the game. Well, the story I thought was a little less than maybe I would have expected. I thought the characters were great. The music was great. Oh my god, this actually might be some of my favorite Pokemon music in like a really long time. So great music. The online was surprising me. I haven't played it too much since me beating it is still pretty recent, but the online kind of is a new take on online Pokemon battling, and I actually really like what they've done to it. The kind of the free-for-all nature of it is really fun, and lets you bring some new strategies that you wouldn't bring to regular Pokemon. So I love having the Legend series as just kind of a way for Pokemon to just try new stuff, and I certainly would love a return to kind of more specifically how Legends Arceus was. I think that'd be great, but I think for what it is a very enjoyable game, and yeah, if you're a Pokemon fan, you'll probably love it. I played the DLC for Kirby, the Star-Crossed World expansion. Gonna put it in good game, bit forgettable. I'm a big fan of Forgotten Land. That was one of my favorite games from the year it came out. I didn't really go into this one expecting much. It was just kind of DLC, nothing from the trailers made it look like anything too crazy, and really what it is, it's 10 or so new Kirby Forgotten Land levels, and yes, they are remixed versions of levels that exist already, but they do enough different stuff. They practically are new levels. I mean, you go to different places and go see different stuff. You really just kind of start off in the same kind of area, then you go off on a whole different journey. But yeah, I mean, if you love Kirby and Forgotten Land, I think it really is a good idea to check this out and play. I mean, this price is a little steep. I'd say wait for it to go on sale, but I think we all know that's not going to happen. But yeah, if you've got the money and you want to play some more Kirby Forgotten Land, I'd say check it out. I mean, there's nothing about it that's going to blow your mind or anything, but yeah, for being Kirby DLC, it's great. And then finally, last and not least, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, a game that I have been waiting for a very, very long time, and I cannot believe it finally came out. And as much as I would love to put it somewhere else, I have to put it in I was hoping for more. Now, I will say, this is where I feel like this tier list, it's a little different than just like a tier list like best to worst. I don't think necessarily being in the I hoping for more category means you're a worse game than good game that's a bit forgettable. I think just by the nature of that, I had really, really, really high expectations for this game, and it just didn't quite deliver. It's it's a really good game. I enjoyed it. I had fun. There was no point I was bored or was like, oh man, why'd they do that? Was stupid. Even the stuff, the NPCs that people were talking about, I thought they were fine. The whatever else people were complaining about, I felt like the stuff people complained about was like not what kind of brought this game down for me. I just felt like that it was like, it just felt very safe. The environments felt like you had forest environment, ice environment, fire environment. Like, they weren't doing anything like crazy weird. It wasn't as linear as Prime 3, but it did feel a good bit linear. I didn't feel like I had too much room to like go wherever I want and kind of discover stuff myself. And obviously they'll kind of tell you where to go. You know, it's an annoying thing that they do, but it really does not ruin the game at all. And it was the desert. The desert was the other thing that people hated, which I really had no problem with. I really like kind of riding my motorbike around and doing it. You know, obviously I think like a fast travel system would have been fun to not drive around the whole desert, but there's nothing inherently wrong with the desert. I think it's a okay area. It's kind of a middle ground to get between the other areas. But yeah, I just think there's an X factor missing. It's a good game. It's a safe game. There's nothing that it does that blows me away. So that's where it's like, you know, I wish it did blow me away. I wanted it to blow me away, but yeah, it's a good game. If you like Metroid Prime, you're gonna like this game. It's the psychic powers are really fun. I think the boss fights are really fun. Another game with great music. I will say the music on this game might be the best in the whole Prime series. But yeah, just kind of mostly just comes down to the areas and kind of the items you get. It just kind of feels like been there, done that. A game I played before, even though it's obvious it's new. You know, just I don't know. That was the feeling. But again, doesn't say anything about the quality of it. Just how it ended up being compared to my expectations. So I wish I could come and say it was my favorite game of the year, but it's just not. So yeah, that's how it shook out. All right, that is all the games I've gone through. I'll just do some reordering here, not to like make like a best horse, but just in the tiers, kind of make what I wanted to make. I kind of set up this top tier kind of my 1, 2, 3 top favorites. I didn't mean it that way, but it's nice that it ends up with an easy top 3 of the year. Stuff that came out this year, which was great. Felt like last year was more dominated by older games. But see, I'm fine with doing Doom Eternal staying there. I'll move Jedi Survivor up one shot. I'll move 100 line above. I'll move 100 line above one shot. I'm going to move Ratchet and Clank to the top of this tier. Mario Kart I'll move up. Dragon Quest I'll move up. Yep. All right, fine with that. And for this one, I mean, obviously Metroid's got to sit at the top of the tier. And kind of feel okay about that order, honestly. Maybe I'll swap these two. And then this one I'll move Doom to the top of the list there, just because of kind of how that was put where it was. So yeah, I think that is the list. For people who like looking at things in ordered tier lists, that was the tier list of everything I played this year. Honestly, just loved that as an excuse just to, in only an hour or so, get to share all the thoughts about the games I played, which is just something I love doing. So I hope it was an enjoyable experience for those of you who listened. But yeah, absolutely no promises on when I will be uploading video next. I mean, obviously I love doing it, but time is tight right now, so we will see what happens. But yeah, if you've made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. Comment down below what your favorite games of the year were, or if you had any thoughts on the stuff I talked about today. And yeah, I hope I can be back sooner rather than later, but if not, just know I'm out there living my best life. So yeah, that's about all I've got for today. Thank you so much, and have a good one, everybody. Peace.